Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today for this insightful LinkedIn Live webinar hosted by AMRITA DEVI that is dedicated to women empowerment.
Country head of AMRITA Devi Foundation. We believe that empowerment begins with opportunity. Our mission is to equip women and youth with skills, restore our environment and uplift the communities. Through education, employment and environmental action, we are building a self-reliant and sustainable future.
को हैंडल करना, उसमें किस तरह एक स्टार्टअप बिजनेस को हम ग्रो कर सकते हैं, वो चीज़ स्किल्स एंड पर्सनल स्पीक इन पब्लिक, so many things we are learning from. And I like to thank AMRITA DEVI Foundation जिन्होंने महिलाओं की एजुकेशन के लिए, उनके स्किल डेवलपमेंट के लिए इतना सराहनीय योगदान दिया है।
सबसे पहले मैं अमृता देवी फाउंडेशन का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ। फिर गोविंद सिंह नेगी जी का भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ, जिन्होंने हमें 6 महीने फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट सिलाई सीखने का मौका दिया, जिससे अब हम अच्छे से सिलाई सीखकर अपने खुद के कपड़े और आस-पास पड़ोस रिश्तेदारों के कपड़े सिलकर बेनिफिट कमा पा रहे हैं।
When women grows, communities flourish. Our training programs are designed to bridge the gap between education and employability, ensuring every woman and girl can stand on her own feet with pride.
आज के दिन। तो एक जो सपना देखा गया था उसे आप एक शेप में होते हुए देख सकते हैं।
के साथ रिखाणी गांव जो अल्मोड़ा में स्थित है वहां पे पहुंचा। अमृता देवी अर्थ केयर की तरफ से जो कार्य पर्यावरण के लिए किया जा रहा है उसका एक जायजा हमने यहाँ पे लिया। मुझे ऐसा लगा कि एक ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं कि जो सिर्फ पर्यावरण के साथ साथ जो यहाँ के रहने वाले हैं उनको भी इकोनॉमिकली सपोर्ट करें। ये जो मेरे पीछे आप देख रहे हैं ये एक चंदन का वृक्ष है। कभी सोचा नहीं होगा कि चंदन के वृक्ष उत्तराखंड में भी इस तरह से लगाए जा सकते हैं, बट ये जो मुहिम चलाई है जहां लोगों को एक दिशा दी गई है कि चंदन पेड़ लगाएं, पर्यावरण की तरफ है ही जो सपोर्ट उसमें मिलेगा, बट इकोनॉमिकली ऑल्सो विल हेल्प दोज हु आर रिसाइडिंग इन दिस एरिया।
मेरा नाम सुनीता मेहता है, मैं ग्राम रिखाणी से हूँ और हमें आज अमृता देवी फाउंडेशन द्वारा धुआं रहित चूल्हे मिले। हम इनका प्रयोग करेंगे तो हमें धुआं नहीं लगेगा और जिससे हमारा स्वास्थ्य ठीक रहेगा। अमृता देवी फाउंडेशन का धन्यवाद करती हूँ जिन्होंने हमें धुआं रहित चूल्हे दिए।
Our work being recognized by the leading organizations. We have been awarded as the Best NGO in 2021 by the GNE Awards, and our commitment to excellence has earned us the Incredible Workplaces Gold certification. Our partnership with ICO India Services Private Limited, Express IT, Sharp, and other leading organizations continue to strengthen our impact. So, together we can build a future where every woman is skilled, every tree is nurtured, and every life is transformed. Be a part of this change. Visit our website, follow us on social media, and join hands with Amrita Devi Foundation today.
Thank you. Thank you for watching the work and the impact of Amrita Devi Foundation. That's a glimpse, the work that inspires us every day to combine the people purpose and the planet. And today, we are here to take that dialogue forward through the lens of HR and the CSR. As we are having, the topic for today is HR's role in making CSR more human-centric, a subject that resonates deeply as an organization move beyond the checklist and reports toward impact, empathy, and the true employee involvement. So let me introduce our esteemed panelists who are not just the leaders in HR, but also the champions of the people-first leadership and purpose-driven work. And each of them bring the decades of wisdom. So first, we are having with us the Pinakin Purohitji. He is the global head of the human resource at Sequentix, a seasoned HR leader with 18 plus years across the US, APAC, and India. Pinakinji drives the global HR strategy with expertise in talent, workforce planning, and people management. He has worked with Maxwell, Imagality, UST Global, and Sears. An NMIMS alumnus, he is passionate about enabling human potential building, diverse teams, and aligning the people with the business outcomes. Next, our esteemed speaker with us is the Vignesh Kumarji. He is the senior HR business partner at Waters GCC. With 16 plus years of experience in HR consulting and organizational effectiveness, Vignesh has shaped the people strategies at PwC, Accenture, UST, and the Fidelity. And MSSW, Honor University, and Loyola Alumnus, he advocates the people first leadership and building the culture that balance the business with the human impact. Another esteemed speaker with us is the Ramesh Kumarji, head HR, mentor, and the speaker. Fondly known as your HR Ramesh, he is an award-winning HR leader with 18 plus years of experience in restructuring the talent and engagement. He mentors the students and young professionals while being recognized nationally and globally for his contribution to HR. His passion is enabling the next generation of HR leaders. Another esteemed speaker with us is Yasmin Sheikhji, India HR head, HR mentor and coach. Yasmin ji has 15 plus years across the healthcare, tech, finance, and aerospace, leading large-scale transformations and GCC setups. A certified coach, a startup curator, and DEI advocate, she is also an All England Badminton gold medalist. She speaks widely on AI readiness, inclusive leadership, and future of the work. Another we are having here with is the Shrikantji, head of the HR with La Software, Make My Trip Grow. With 18 plus years across the global HR, talent, and digital transformation, Shrikantji has held the leadership roles at the Technotree, Dentsu, and DDB, Mudra, and MBA in HR and marketing. He is passionate about creating the high performance cultures that drive both the growth and inclusion. And now, final we are having with us is the Devanjan Bhaumikji, is the Director HR Business Partner at Solve. Recognized among 40 under the 40 HR professionals and awarded the HR Talent Management Leader of the Year. Devjan has 14 plus year across fintech, consulting, and professional services with SCB, KPMG, and the Persistent. He focuses on the purpose driven workplaces, leadership development, and culture transformation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't feel lucky to have such a powerhouse panel today. So, let's dive right into our discussion. And first question is goes to you, Pinakanji. We would start with you that HR is the backbone of the culture in any organization. So, how can the HR ensures that CSR is not just a compliance activity, but becomes an integral part of the employee values and daily behavior? Please, Pinakanji.
Okay, so before, like we said, that HR is the backbone of an organization. What is the backbone of CSR? So, backbone of CSR is Vasudev Kutumbakam, or the world is my home. And this particular Sanskrit two words, they actually express what is the backbone for entire CSR. And I wish to term corporate social responsibility is actually corporate social reciprocity instead, right? What we do, what we are earning has to be given back to the society on its whole. And HR is the only mechanism in organization that can fulfill this end to end. It starts with the leadership, what they want to achieve, what are their values, what is the mission of the organization, what is it that they want to give back to the society and the entire world. And you see those examples, numerous examples. You talk about Infosys, you talk about Reliance. These are mega industries that are actually into so much of CSR activity. But CSR can happen at an individual level also, right? And HR can actually take care of this right from the beginning, while aligning leadership with the CSR goals of the organization, to selecting the right people who have the attitude and the aptitude for CSR, who believe in being human first. That is the basis of CSR, right? And while of course the questions in job interviews can be framed, we can have an aptitude check that whether the employee is aligned to the organization. Is he a human centric person, or he is more selfish? We can go to multiple level of questions and analyze the person and get the right fitment over here. At the same time, once an employee is inside the organization, we should keep on branding the internal communication in such a way that whatever the organization's activities are there are continuously given out in terms of the internal corporate communication to the employees. So they are aware, and they can be, they are aware at the same time they can participate full-fledgedly into this. All these policies need to be restructured in such a way where employees feel free to contribute and be a part. They are able to voice their opinion, as well as they have a say in the organizational policies also. Some of the performance-based KPIs can be structured around CSR, right? Of course, I don't say that performance should not be rewarded, but yes, and specific, eye for how we can give back to the organization. What is the contribution of the employee to the society as a whole? Are they taking any extracurricular activities which they want to mention, and then how can we highlight this in the corporate communication, in the corporate magazines, and of course in due time reward them for their whatever efforts they have done, recognize them, and create a culture within the organization to ensure that the culture overall over a large period of time is towards corporate social responsibility or corporate social reciprocity, right? We have to give back to the society. We have to think in terms of the entire humanity. It's just not about a specific organization or an area or a city. It's about how we are, what we are taking from the environment, what we are taking from the planet, and how we are giving it back. So it's a huge role end to end, right? Till entry of an employee to the exit of the employee, right? That's my take. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pinakinji. And it was a great said. And the first word was the really awesome that the Vasudev Kutumbakam. That really said by you that it's really a great thing that you touch with the human touch, and that is a basic of Indians. I think कि अगर हम कहें ना कि एक basic point होता है, एंड जो आपने एक बात कही दैट आई रियली फील दैट कि जब आप किसी भी चीज़ को दिल से फील आउट करते हैं तो वो उसका जो इम्पैक्ट होता है वो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है. एंड आई थिंक द HR और द CSR पर्सन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, एंड एज वी आर द non-profit organizations, when we work for the social welfare, the main important thing should be that what you are going to impact in the society. और अगर आप ये सोच के चीज़ें करेंगे तो आई थिंक कि हम एक की ज़िंदगी भी बदलते हैं. एंड द वन पॉइंट ऑल्सो यू हैव सेड दैट द individual, that the CSR is also done by individual also. That is very important thing, that if each one of us will responsible that we have to do for the society, that is more important thing. So I think कि हम वो दुनिया बदल पाएंगे. So thank you Pinakin ji for your great inputs today. So next I'm moving to Vignesh ji here. So Vignesh ji, my question to you is that you have worked across the diverse organizations. How can the HR leaders encourage the employees across the levels to actively participate in the CSR initiatives and feel emotionally connected to the cause? Please.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity first. My old friend Pinakin has set high expectations for all of us, so let's see how we can reach them up. To quickly give you a background, the organization that I work with is Waters GCC. Waters is pioneer in instrumentation, scientific solutions, helping advanced discoveries in healthcare, food, and environmental research. So the GCC Center in Bangalore that we have is not just a center of innovation, but it's also a community on people on purpose. Why do I say this? When it comes into CSR, HR plays a very pivotal role, and in making meaningful for the employees. And at Waters GCC, we believe the best way to empower employees is to design themselves and lead those initiatives, right? Unlike in the past where the organization or the HR does it, in today's world, we are empowering employees to do it. And in practical, we have implied that in our organization. So just to give you an example. So in our organization, we have something called as PEC, People Engagement Committee. These are the voluntary group of employees who run initiatives across wellness, diversity, culture, social responsibility, and etc. With this, we also have a landmark of committee called as voluntary social responsibility. This is VSR. This is an addition which has brought CSR in life with creativity and also creating high impacts. For example, we had something called as World Water Day, which is done by the VSR. Employees have staged an act of play to raise awareness about water conservation on day-to-day activities. The same VSR partnered with Thai Mane Foundation to understand, how the books, education materials for underprivileged children. Again, these are all employee initiated. Our employees even created close to 65 to 70 learning posters with mantra for change for government students. To spread awareness, we have used memes. People of our employee, they have acted upon this. They have created a high social media addiction for social, cybersecurity. And just last year, we partner with, Gift Able to raise supports and fund for, people with disabilities. Each of this is not top down. It is not HR mandate, but it is all purely driven by employees. And that is why the emotional connect for employees makes it so strong. That's how I would say it.
Thank you so much, Vignesh ji. And as you put the prospect of the employees, that everything was purely, as you said, that the employees already participated on that. That is a very important thing. And I think I will put that the CSR participation, as you said, that it's less about mandating the hours. It should be creating the ownership, I think so. And when the employees see their skills and passions aligned with the causes, so CSR shifts from being an activity for being a movement within the organization. I think that is the important. That is the point you have influenced with us. So thank you, Vignesh ji, for your awesome points here. So another question is goes to Ramesh ji. So Ramesh ji, CSR today is evolving from the donations to the impact-driven initiatives. So how can the HR leverage the employees' skills to design the volunteering program that adds a real value to the communities while also developing the employee competencies?
All right. Thank you so much, Hemlata and the Amrita Foundation for the opportunity. To step in to answer this question, so I would start with how it was. Of course, a lot of veterans here who would be knowing it well. But even if you look at it now, if you call anybody, what is CSR? People think CSR is viewed as like you go to somewhere else and get the check done, and then it's like check written, event, do the event, done and dusted. I think that's how the mindsets of a lot of people. But over the period, if you look at in the last couple of years, now the today community, that kind of one-time support is really required, right? Now it is all required a sustained impact, right? That is where I feel the CSR is moving towards that, which is exactly where HR has a very powerful role to play, because since it's all of the HR topic that we are talking about, right? Because HR, we sit in the intersection between the business and the people, because we know the business strategies and how business functions. At the same time, we know the people alignments and people developments together. So we know both in balancing view, right? So if we align our employees' competencies with the community needs, right, and CSR can be more impactful for the society and the transformative, right? Let me share an example. I'll share two examples. One, long year ago, probably around 15 to 16 years ago, while I was working for an organization, initially at the start of my career, right, where it was more of an NGO associated kind of role, where the role was that where I had to go to the field and talk to people and understand the pain points and help them wherever it is, right? So where the thought that came in that over the period, we all as a team, right, the major problem that we identified, people doesn't have three meal per day, right? At least not even one meal, especially people below poverty. What we thought is it's very simple, nothing big deal here. What we thought is we installed a box in each PDS counter, and we negotiated, we spoke to the government personnel and also the local people, and we brought the awareness, and we told them, whenever you go to the PDS shop, just take a pinch or whatever that you could contribute, drop it in that box. And then once in a month, we used to collect that and put it in a store. And then we ask all the needy people to come together and collect it. Whether you believe or not, it started with 5-10 kgs. And over the period, we used to collect in a month 3,000 to 4,000 kgs of rice and the millets and so on, whatever we could collect. And that we used to give it to 200, 300 families. Over the period, that was appreciated by the local government and all published in the media and so on, right? Again, I'll cut that scene and then come to the recent past, maybe a few years ago, what was my experience on it, maybe a couple of years ago, which has an impact, right? I work for an IT services company, which is completely technology driven. We had a group of young engineers who were really brilliant with multi-skill set, but we have a set of people who are brilliant in data analytics, right? And of course, we were trying to do something better for them than to society in part of CSR. What we did is, instead of asking our employees normally go in the beach and then plantation and so on, we asked, we connected them with an NGO, where NGO is really struggling to track the child nutrition. There's a lot of people where they could really meet what it is, right? So what happened, this technology team, our employees team, put their expectation. They built a very simple dashboard. Trust me, the dashboard is very simple, but which is effective. Over the period of 6 to 8 months, the NGO could monitor the health need of the children's close around 300 plus. Right? Within 6 months, the NGO could predict the malnutrition risk of every early and then intervene wherever it is required. Now look at these two outcomes here. Now, if you look at the community, right, it was really a life changing, right? Children's received and people, families, whoever, whatever they want, they received the timely care. And when you look at the employees per se, how we engage them, by the way, be engaging them with real time CSR initiative rather than doing all fund collection and so on. It could really bring a change in then it's more or like more than technical. They are solving a real time problem in the industry, and then the stakeholder engagement. It's all about that where they feel the experience is meeting their purpose, right? It's like purpose behind their skills. That's how it works, right? In fact, one of the persons said he never thought that coding could save life, right? So overall, if you look at the way how I would look at as a HR perspective, right? CSR is not just a time donated. I feel it is a talent deployed, right? Where we can design our volunteer programs, integrating employees' expertise into real societal challenges, which I did in one of my recent organization where I worked for performance management redesigning. We brought this as one of the initiative. We asked people to go and take up anything, either it could be as a team or individual or a society, or be partnered with something. Do it whatever that you could do. Let's see how best. Either it could be financial planning, awareness, anything. At the end of the day, in short, the HR's role is more of moving from the facilitating volunteering hearts to curating the volunteering experiences. That's what matter. That's my take.
Thank you, Ramesh ji. And really, your stories have touched the heart, and it's really an awesome when you put out some initiatives and the results come out were fruitful. Then that is the I think that is the important thing. But you have influenced here that the great stories with the great initiatives. Leadership intent and the employee passion to make the CSR more human centric.
Absolutely. Fantastic question. Thank you so much for having me, on this panel discussion, and, great to be with everyone. So I think if you look at it, I will go a step back and, sharing my experience that I've worked with some of the fantastic organizations, in this past couple of decades. Is what's the goal? And I've also been on the CSR board, so greater visibility into really what happens. I think where HR can come in is to look at alignment. Usually because as an organization there is an intent to do a few things for the community at large, and what the organization stands for, and what employees are passionate about. So if you keep it open, I think what happens is you end up in situations where you're asking why we're doing what we're doing, right? What's the impact we're trying to create? Like tomorrow, I can, bring in 5 initiatives. Somebody else could bring in, other initiatives. So there could be a sometimes ambiguous situation where, we might have 2 initiatives where 2 different employees want to work. So there could be some ambiguity there. So I think the best thing is to really maybe have clarity in terms of what's our goal as an organization in terms of what we want to give back to the society, right? For example, some of the companies that I worked with, let's say if it's sustainability, right? If it's about child education, if it's about women empowerment, women education, especially abled people, trying to help build livelihood for them. Or just making it a cleaner, greener society, increasing the green belt. So great organization, great goals. So I think where HR can come in is to connect the head where the strategy is to the heart where the employees and, the company wants to. So I think connecting the head to heart is where HR can come in. Basically provide platforms and say, how can we do this? and collaborate to say, okay, can we just get together and see why we're doing what we're doing? Let's say, so the way we worked, and I can talk about, let's say, if it's Infosys, right? Carbon footprint, we wanted to reduce the carbon footprint. So what could we do as HR? So we suggested maybe carpooling, right? So people coming in from the same location, you could carpool, and it could just help a win-win situation for everything. Likewise, there was a lot of focus on STEM education for girls, where Infosys was largely invested in doing it beyond just one location, right? It was across the board. Likewise, going to rural India and helping them with just basic hygiene, like washrooms, and creating awareness and educating women around that. To a lot of sustainability in terms of what we do as an organization, including even supporting sports, underprivileged children, and there's a separate foundation and a separate trust that runs it. Likewise, if I look at Informatica, we were looking at specially abled children, so we looked at doing some engagement with Spastic Society of India. We also had some initiatives where we owned certain schools, where we supported children for education, and few things even for the cities. I'm not sure if people are aware, something called Ugly Indian, and some of these volunteering work that employees like to do, like you go pick up an area, you clean it, you paint it, you put your signage there. A lot of these initiatives that employees were doing, or even setting up, items that especially able children or underprivileged made, and selling it inside our office premises, where people could come and buy. So a lot of some of these things. Next Gen, we had something called Next Gen Cares, where I was on the CSR board. Again, fantastic, focus there in terms of how we wanted to create an impact for the society. In fact, we ran the first ever program of mentorship between rural women who were the first breadwinners and our employees. We paired them, and we created awareness in terms of how they could get jobs and how should they be prepared to face the corporate world. That was a fantastic one, where we tied up with certain NGOs. Again, my friend Vignesh has already talked about it, but we did also go to some of the schools like Taimane and several such schools where we provided support for girl education. Again, Green Belt. We again tied up with another large organization where we just actually went and sowed a lot of green patches. So we made the mud balls. So we got all employees together, where everybody was in one room, including leaders, putting it all together and giving it back, so that you could just spread it around the cities, and green trees would start sprouting again. So doing a lot of such initiatives, that would help. So the way it worked for us, Hemlata, is where the team, we had a volunteering team who was the CSR team. So they would present it to me and the India leader, because we were on the board, and walk us through what their initiatives were. And we would brainstorm together, saying, how is it creating an impact? How is this aligning to our overall, goals? And how is it projecting us? And is it really helping the mass? Of course, we all know that 2% of the profits goes into, CSR fund. How are we making the right use of it, right? So I think when we have clarity on that, it became much larger. And then to showcase that, to position that, we have even in the US, we have time off for volunteering, employee volunteering, right, where they're going to schools or even hospitals and doing a whole lot of great work, because we were into healthcare. So I think when HR can come in to be that, like I said, connection between the head and the heart, and to provide the platforms, and to really nurture it in the culture, where we're walking this path together to make everybody know that they are creating an impact, because this is something which we don't evaluate employees on, or it's not on anyone's goals. It's just complete volunteering, because we do a lot of volunteering work even in DEI, right, which is a larger impact. So I think just recognizing the fact that their efforts, and really giving them that platform to showcase the amazing work they're doing, spending their personal time, would mean a lot for employees. And I think that's the way it would work. And I just wanted to share this with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashminji, for a great initiatives here. And as you said, that is important, that the connection between the head and the heart, that is very important. And the one thing you have said, that how and the what is important. I think that is really very important, that how and what कि हम इसे क्यों कर रहे हैं, and that is another important thing. And I think the HR plays a translator during the leadership vision into the action, and employs energy into the measurable outcomes. That bridge is what keeps the initiative alive, and that what the every initiative of the every corporate world comes to a good, or we can say that the कहते हैं ना, fruitful results of the initiatives.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you.
thank you, Yasmin ji. So now it's going a very wonderful conversation from all of you. So let me move on for our another question, and I'm moving to Srikant ji. So Srikant ji, beyond the numbers and the reports, how can the HR evaluate the human impact of the CSR, such as the dignity restored, empowerment created, or the communities uplifted?
Thank you, Hemlata, for having me on this panel. While my fellow colleagues have almost given a wonderful inputs, I have a different way of looking at this. Do we really need to have metrics to measure the CSR activity? Should we really have that? Why can't we think, okay, I mean, beyond that? While this is said, I mean, because we have a lot of auditing things which is coming our way, we all need to, but we should probably, I mean, move from metrics to narratives. Probably, I mean, we'll need to understand the impact which we have created within the community where we are trying to bring in that change. So basically, I mean, we need to understand, okay, how HR can help our employees be a part of that experience where they are able to create impact, instead of being behind the numbers. Okay, saying that we have given 100 kids to study the materials what they require. Instead, okay, if we have, okay, what is the impact? How many people have been enabled with this? How many people have in fact benefited and created a life-changing experience for themselves along with the family? So that's the kind of an approach we should bring in within the employees, within the organization, rather than being the number driven or a metrics driven. At the same time, okay, I mean, instead of going through the general way of what we all have usually been to, of following the long practiced surveys and focus group discussion, why can't we go and have community discussions and have probably a simple feedback sessions with the beneficiaries, how it has impacted, capture their voices, capture their probably, I mean, the experiences which has changed them after the activity. Okay, that is important, and that impact is the outcome and the result, what is actual meaning of the CSR, rather than metrics and just keeping it as a checkbox activity. So this will also reveal the changes in the individual's confidence, the change in their life and the hope, and then also the dignity which has brought in, instead of the real currency of CNR. These has to be the currencies which should be the driving force of the CSR. At the same time, okay, I mean, we should also, I mean, bring in a lot of sense to our employees in terms of driving why CSR. It's not a checkbox event. We should we have also, I mean, had in the past in my organization, we have dedicated day for employees to completely stay away from work and contribute completely for CSR, which is basically around the volunteering experience. So while this is about part of the organization's culture, and we should also somewhere, I mean, I think Vignesh and Ramesh did touch upon this point, we should connect this to at some point in time to the performance culture of the organization also, from individual to the organization level. While all said and done, okay, it is equally important, okay, which is CSR should ensure that the program is designed to bring in that inclusion, partnership in mind, and then the bringing in that dignity what individual look forward for, instead of, okay, I mean, handing over one kit and taking photographs and posting it on various medias, and then, I mean, completing the CSR activity in the checkbox is not all. So I feel, okay, it's all about human impact metrics, which is more important than the metrics what we have been. So basically the impact, the change, and the dignity and the culture what we have brought in through the CSR to the community where we are trying to serve, that is important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shrikantji. And that the word you have said, that the metrics to narratives, that is very important, because the HR can ensure the impact reporting includes the narratives that touch the mind and numbers that certify the board. So thank you. And one story, just as you have said, that the feedback important. So I would like to share one story of Amrita Devi Foundation with you all, that as in our initiatives, we distribute the smokeless chulas also to the peoples living on, and the women that are using the traditional chulas. And what was the impact of that, that if you see that the traditional chulas get the very health issues to the women cooking the food on that, and that health issues are measurable. वो इतना ज़्यादा strong होता है health problem कि वो उनको ही नहीं, उनके बच्चों को तक impact करता है. And what we have done that कि जब हमने smokeless chula distribute किए, उसके बाद then we have run the feedback session also. And वो feedback session में जब हम एक एक person के पास गए, और जब वो खुशी थी ना लोगों के चेहरे पे, और especially the women's and the children's there, that कि भाई अब तो इसमें खाना भी जल्दी बनता है, और we are not getting the smoke, we are not getting the health issues. And that is the thing that feel us proud, that feel us happy, that wow. And after that they ask that कि क्या हमें एक और चूल्हा मिल सकता है, क्या हमें community chulhas मिल सकते हैं. So that is the thing, there are no big their demands are not so much, they are not asking for the you give us like that, या उनके लिए वो छोटी छोटी जो चीजें होती है ना, that is important. And I think कि जो हम उनको वो provide करा देते हैं ना, तो उनकी खुशियाँ उसी में ही है. And the most important is the family. So Shrikant ji, thank you for your inputs there, and it's really important. So let's moving to the Devanjan ji. Devanjan ji, my next question with you is that Gen Z entering the workforce and being very socially conscious, how do you see the role of HR evolving to align the CSR efforts with the expectations of this new generations? Your mic is off, Devanjan ji. Please.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Good evening, all of you. And it's a great pleasure to be part over here with the fellow speakers in this panel discussion. So it's a great question, Hemlata. While I look at this question in this way, that while we evaluate the key traits of the Gen Z, there are key three things which comes into my mind. So one is about their trait about being more socially aware and conscious, being more tech savvy, and third is probably they are being more vocal about what are their aspirations, their values, their choices. Now let's try to understand, and being HR being a bridge between this whole thought process of organizations, CSR, at the same time the new demographics of the generation of Gen Z. Now if we try to connect between these things, what can be done? Now here I see CSR more or less being part of every organization, how this could be used as an employee value proposition over here. Now, if you know, like in today's time, most of the people, most of these Gen Zs are pretty well aware what they want in their life, what are their aspirations, which organizations they are applying for. They do a good amount of research. And when they do this amount of research, they definitely try to align their aspirations with what organization is doing it. Now, this is the good place for the HR to create a good amount of branding by what they are offering in the organization, how they are creating that kind of a nudge in the organization. So point number one was about how this value proposition could be done. Now let me put it across through an example. Now I remember I have been working with KPMG, and they were running one of the beautiful program called as 10 by 30 program. Now this 10 by 30 program of KPMG's was, they wanted to achieve 10 million people. They wanted to touch base 10 million people by 2030 under the program of who are underprivileged. Now, when I'm saying underprivileged, here what they're trying to do is through education, empowerment, education, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. Through these three things, they're trying to touch base. Now, if you see, through these different initiatives, they are creating a positive outcome. At the same time, they're creating a good branding about the organization. So as a Gen Z, when anybody wishes to aspire to join an organization, they look for such kind of aesthetics and they try to join over there. Point number one. Point number two, as I think Shrikant was rightly mentioning about, is having a purposeful work, right? Where you have certain amount of narrative, but at the same time, which should create certain amount of purpose in the life. Now, these Gen Zs are very well aware how their purpose in the life is aligned with the organization. Now, rightly mentioned by Yasmin as well, being part of those CSR activities, volunteering it, being part of those leading those initiatives, that is something which not only allowing and enabling the set of people to show their skills of leadership, they're able to show their how they can able to manage the team, how they can able to brainchild certain activities and able to plan and put it across. I think that is what also important. So today's generation look for that kind of a platform. If an HR can create that kind of a platform where they can enable, empower, and support these young generation to be part of the whole mainstream thought process, that could be helpful. And probably the last point which I wish to connect over here is that having a leadership ability. Now, a lot of organization, I know in SCB, that is Standard Chartered Bank, they have a dedicated succession planning model, where in the succession planning model, they also look forward to have employees rated for their potential abilities, which is primarily for their leadership ability. They look for such kind of opportunities where an employee, these young generations, could able to show their skills from unskilling to reskilling to learning to relearning, and able to put forward their best foot forward. So looking at these three aesthetics, I feel if we could able to bridge those gaps, I think HR could definitely play a impactful platform which could able to create a good amount of support to the system. And probably I'll go back to what Pinakin said, creating a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So having that kind of a platform where you can give it back through these young generation and creating something more impactful, future ready generation is very important. So I'll try to connect with one beautiful statement at the end, which goes like through a shero shairi probably. It says that खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर जर्रे से पहले खुदा खुद बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. So with this, yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Devajansi. Exactly, the Gen Z doesn't want to work with the companies. They want to work with a purpose. I think that is important thing. And the points pointed by you were very important, that the employee's value proposition is very important, and having the leadership ability, that is very, very much important. I think so. You have put it the very important points here today. And one more thing I want to share with you that कि जैसे कि एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जब हमारे साथ बच्चे जेंजी आते हैं, तो मैंने एक चीज़ देखा है कि जैसे पहले जो बच्चे होते थे वो सोशल वर्क के लिए उतना they are not interested on that. But what we are seeing in the Gen Zs, because we provide the digital marketing course also to the students, so when they do the course, that time they see the ability that how they can support the society also. So they are not working at just for the that कि उनको काम करना है, नहीं, वो इसलिए काम करना चाहते हैं कि what the impact will come after their work hard, after their doings. तो वो बहुत important है उनके लिए. तो right said by you. And now moving, let's make this interaction more interactive. So if each of you had to share one practical step that the HR leaders across industries can take today to make the CSR more human centric, so what would that be? So let's start with Pinaki. We would love to start from you only.
Yeah, thank you. I think wonderful session. Thank you again, AMRITA DEVI Foundation, and the wonderful faculty and esteemed speakers. I think all these topics have already been covered. I'm just too astounded to hear about the experiences that my co-panelists have. So thank you again for sharing your wonderful inputs. One of the things that I feel, what Yasmin ji said, is the head and the heart need to be connected. The leadership and the strategy and the heart, that is the employees, need to be in sync when it comes to having a common CSR goal. The objective has to be very clear, what they want to achieve. How is it aligning with what the company is going to offer? What the company is expecting, what the employees are expecting, right? And is it really something fruitful? Is it really adding meaning to someone's life, right? That should be the strategy in the long term. Having said that, I'll go back to again something that I practice almost daily is on a very small scale, be grateful. If you cannot be grateful, be kind. If you cannot be kind, be humble. Because every person that you interact with, right from the security person who's letting your vehicle inside to the admin or the housekeeping staff who's actually cleaning the floors, cleaning your desk, everyone has a challenge, everyone has a story to tell. The more caring and more humility that you show, the more understanding and the sympathy that you have, that itself does a lot of things that come under the entire huge umbrella of CSR, right? So let us be more human, more down to earth, and things will take care of themselves. I think all of us need to be really empathetic and or sympathetic. No, empathy is the right word over here because we need to be in their shoes to understand what is their pain point, which will actually help us in understanding that okay, we are not here alone. We are on a very short time on this planet, and it's a beautiful place. So we have an option of making it more beautiful or making it bad. We can choose any one of them. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Next, I would like Rameshji. Would you want to add on that?
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ken. See, if I had to come up or name one step, that would be like, as I said some time back, it's about we should design the CSR around people's strengths, not just around the activities, is what my strong take. Because when we understand people's strengths within the organization or people around, I'm sure if we were able to design the activity around what they're good at, that would 100% for sure. It's not 100, 500% give the effective results. As I said, it is an impact, not just a time being activity, because either it could be mentoring, teaching, coding, problem solving, anything. Like the way how I see CSR as more than corporate social responsibility. I see as a community, yes, as skill and community and skills together will get the result. So I see CSR, community skills equal to result. That's my equation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rameshji. Thank you for your inputs. Now move on to Shrikantji. We would love your inputs on that.
Well, while we have discussed a lot, it is important actually to involve employees at the design phase of the CSR agenda or whatever we want to drive within the organization. Because when we have people part of the decision-making process, the impact is at a different level actually, because they know, okay, I mean, they are a part of this decision, and from there it is not a checkbox event, as I mentioned earlier. And definitely, I mean, the other way is also, I mean, it should not be a one-time activity within a year, as been mentioned. It can be a year-long, okay, a consistent and probably an event which could drive that change sustainably outside the organization, the community where we are addressing. So that is important. We have this approach within the HR and within the organization. We need to think through loud on this and bring in this small change at a one step at a time, and probably we will be able to achieve it in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrikantji, for your inputs. Now I would like your inputs, Yasminji.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amrita, and great discussion, and good to hear amazing stuff from everyone. So thank you all for sharing. I think for me, if I have to look at it in three parts, right? I'll break that one into 1A, B, and C. One is definitely where HR can come in, is connect the head and the heart, which is the strategy and what the passion is really. Know the how and the why. Like, what are we doing? Why exactly are we doing? Because it has to align to your purpose. What you want to do, long-term impact and really make a difference in people's life, right? So whatever you're doing, is it changing someone's life? How is it helping? I think if we ask that question, it makes a world of difference. And to be very clear, HR's role is, to inspire, not impose, because we need to be absolutely clear that good deeds cannot be measured. And while I appreciate the fact that, maybe we can bring in some accountability factor, performance management, all of that stuff, I would rather see it as more aligned to the values and the culture rather than, metric driven, because people feel happy. It's like helping someone. How do you know which help is less or more? Help is help. It helps someone. And for that person who's receiving the help, it's really big, right? And culture keeps CSR human centric, because at the end of the day, I will again say good deeds cannot be measured. So I think it's just that there is no measurement for compassion. It's all heart driven. So lead with heart and make a difference. Thank you.
Great said by you, Yasminji. So moving on to Vigneshji for your inputs.
I think, Yasmin exactly pitched the point, which I want to make it up to make it more human centric. I would like to go back to Pinakin, Ramesh, and Shrikant, the way that they post, right? Heart and head and heart, that's something very important. And, unlike in our past, CSR is no longer, I mean, they are being driven by corporate, but now it's also seen as an employee movement. Employers are seeing this as human centric. They wanted to be a part of this design. They want to create some of these as a personal passion. We have seen them doing it in our past. Some of us have even experienced it. Someone who's voluntarily coming up, leading those initiatives, helping things done from the beginning to the end, ensuring that all of us gets benefit out of it. Again, going back to what Yasmin said, impact cannot be quantified, impact cannot be scaled. Impact is an impact. The scale is not actually being there. It's all something that you carry back to your heart. If I have to go back, how I would do that is, to make this to be employee centric, so that CSR becomes truly, owned by the employees, done by the employees, for the employees, to the employees. They have been doing it. Employees also part of the society that we are working in today. So if they feel they are going to be having their thumb impression as part of their activities, there is a personal touch that they carry towards these activities. I've seen them doing it. In fact, even I've been part of some of those initiatives. When I've been part of the planning circle, just like how Shrikant has said, when I'm being part of the planning initiatives, the way how I see through things gets even more planned, even more shape. How can I do this even more better? I become closer to the person whom I'm actually delivering that help. If we have to go back to the way how we are delivering things, the PEC and the people engagement committee, that's exactly how these guys are doing it today. That's something wonderful, I would say. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Vigneshji. And last, I would like to get the inputs from Devajinji from you.
Sure, Hemlata. Great listening to all the fellow speakers and sharing this space. One thing I want to talk over here that which I haven't heard much right now, CSR with respect to AI. So probably I'll talk about that part, like something which is like ethical AI as a CSR commitment, wherein probably as an organization, leaders, as organization front facing people, probably HRs can think on those lines in terms of creating those AI labs or maybe AI ethics training or maybe responsible AI practices. That's something which as a practical initiative I wish to pursue it. Probably all of them have compiled all the points, which is absolutely apt. Probably my one liner over here will be turning purpose into impactful practices. So I think that's what I look at CSR as, and I think that's how probably we can create a sustainable people impact in the long run. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And that was the fantastic takeaways from all of you. And what I gather from all of you is that start small, but be consistent. Connect the employees with the heart, with the cause, and measure the success, not just in ROI, but in return on impact. CSR becomes only sustainable when it becomes personal. I think that is the important points for today. So this has been such an enriching conversation today. A huge thank you to all our stellar panelists of today, Pinakin ji, Vignesh ji, Ramesh ji, Yasmin ji, Shrikant ji, and Devanjan ji, for sharing your wisdom and experience. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in and engaging with us today. So thank you for your wonderful engagement. Do stay connected with Amrita Devi Foundation, whether as a volunteer, corporate partner, or through the contributor. Together, we keep making the CSR truly human-centric. If there's one message to take home, is it that CSR is not just about the charity, it's about the humanity. And HR has the power to humanize it. Let's stay connected and keep this dialogue alive. Thank you, everyone, and wishing you a purposeful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.